A Night Beneath the Stars, Part 2. The air was cool and fragrant, filled with the scent of lavender and earth, as Elena and Matteo sat side by side on the terrace bench. The sky had deepened to a velvet blue, scattered with thousands of stars that twinkled above them, casting a soft glow over the vineyard. The world felt hushed, like it was holding its breath for something to happen. Elena found herself watching Matteo as he gazed up at the sky, his dark eyes reflecting the starlight. There was something about the quiet between them that felt different, charged but peaceful. She could feel her heart beating in her chest, slow and steady, as if it were in sync with the rhythm of the night. "What are you thinking about?" Matteo asked, his voice soft, but his question felt weighty, as though he wasn't asking about the stars, or the sky, or the night. He was asking about something deeper. Elena hesitated, unsure how to respond. She had always been the type to overthink, to plan, and predict every step. But now, sitting here with him, all of that felt unnecessary. There was no need for explanations or analysis, just the truth of the moment. "I'm thinking," she began, glancing down at her hands, "about how easy this feels. Being here with you. I didn't expect that." Matteo smiled, but it wasn't the kind of smile she was used to seeing from him. This one was quieter, more thoughtful. "Me neither," he admitted. "I mean, we've been around each other for a while now, but tonight, I don't know. It feels different." Elena nodded, understanding exactly what he meant. They had been part of the same friend group for months, and she had always felt comfortable around him. But tonight there was something more. A connection that went beyond casual conversation or shared experiences. It was as though the quiet of the Tuscan night had revealed something between them that neither had expected. She looked up at the stars, feeling the weight of the moment settle over her. "Do you ever think about how small we are under all this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Like, in the grand scheme of things, none of it really matters except moments like this?" Matteo glanced at her, then up at the sky. "Yeah," he said quietly. "I think about that all the time. But I also think maybe that's what makes moments like this matter more. When everything else falls away, and it's just you, and someone who gets it." Elena felt a shiver run down her spine, not from the cool air, but from his words. She had always been drawn to Matteo's quiet strength, his ability to observe without judgment, to listen without needing to fill the space with unnecessary words. But this was something different. He wasn't just being kind or polite, he was opening up, letting her see a part of him that few people ever did. "I think you're right," she said softly, meeting his gaze. "It's easy to get lost in the day-to-day stuff, but moments like this, they remind you what's really important." Matteo's eyes softened as he looked at her, and for a moment, the rest of the world seemed to disappear. The laughter and chatter from inside the villa, the soft rustling of the wind in the trees, it all faded into the background. All that was left was this moment, this connection between them. He shifted slightly on the bench, turning toward her. "Elena," he said, his voice lower now, more serious. "I don't want to say something that'll ruin this, but I also don't want to miss it." Her heart skipped a beat at his words. There it was, the thing they had both been dancing around all night, the unspoken feeling that had been growing between them. She could feel it too, the pull towards something more, something deeper. But she was afraid of ruining the moment, of saying the wrong thing, of losing whatever it was they had here. "I feel the same way," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I don't want to mess this up either." For a moment, they sat in silence, the weight of the unsaid heavy between them. Then, slowly, Matteo reached out, his hand hovering just above hers. His fingers brushed against hers, light and tentative, as though he was asking for permission without saying a word. Elena's breath hitched at the simple contact, but she didn't pull away. Instead, she let her fingers intertwine with his, feeling the warmth of his hand against hers. It was a small gesture, but it felt monumental, like the beginning of something she had been waiting for without even realizing it. "I've wanted to do that for a while," Matteo admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Elena smiled, her heart pounding in her chest. "Me too." They sat like that for what felt like hours, their hands entwined, the silence between them no longer awkward but comforting. The night wrapped around them like a blanket, the stars watching over them as if they were the only two people in the world. Elena had always thought that moments like this, real, unspoken moments, only happened in movies or books. But here, with Mateo, it felt real. It felt right. There was no need for grand gestures or declarations. The simple act of sitting together, holding hands under the stars, was enough. After a long pause, Mateo spoke again, his voice soft but sure. "You don't have to say anything," he said. "I just wanted you to know that I'm here. Whatever happens next, I'm here." Elena's heart swelled at his words, and for the first time in a long time, she felt completely at peace. She didn't know what the future held, but in this moment, it didn't matter. All that mattered was the quiet connection between them, the warmth of his hand in hers, and the knowledge that, for once, she didn't have to overthink everything. Under the stars, with Mateo beside her, she was exactly where she was meant to be. If you like the story, then please like the video and don't forget to subscribe our channel and stay tuned for the next parts.